Hey guys, it's Yorkie here and welcome to an iRacing video where I am staring at the bottom of my car. There we go, just sorting out the TrackIR, getting myself comfortable in my seat. All that usual stuff that I do before every single race that I race in. Just, yeah, make sure you're comfortable because you don't want to go into it sitting too far away from the wheel and having to adjust midway through the race. So we're in the Mazda MX-5 Cups then, again, and we are racing at the Jefferson Circuit, which is a shortened version of Summit Point Raceway. It's a horrible track, very narrow. There's not really any room for overtaking. You kind of have to rely on other people to make a mistake, but the more I drive it, the quicker I get, the more consistent I get, and it's kind of starting to grow on me as well, as it provides very close yet slightly frustrating racing. So just waiting for the green light. There it is. Getting a tiny little bit of wheel spin off the line, which is how I seem to launch every single car, or launch it every single time now. And just managing the upshifts as we accelerate down to the first turn. Not really too much room for manoeuvring around. I'm going to try and go around the outside here of the guy in fifth, try and slip up into fifth position around his outside. We've got the inside here, but then I'm going to have the outside again here, but he goes and concedes a position, and I've now got the inside for this hairpin here that does open up as you continue through the corner. So 1 place gained off the start, then it's probably the best opportunity, that if everyone's equal, the best opportunity to make up any positions, if at all, during the race. So up into the top 5, which is where I aim to be pretty much every single race. And we've got a tiny bit of a gap, 0.7 seconds, as you can see, to the guy in front, but also about the same to the guy behind. So just time to settle into this race and see if we can pick out any points where the guys ahead are a little bit slower and a little bit better, and then try and work out and strategize a plan to close the gap and try and somehow work my way past them. So like I said, just taking it fairly smooth, fairly steady, not taking too many risks at the moment, just trying to see where the gaps are opening and where they are closing. And as you can see, us top 5 are pretty close together, all within about a second and a half, maybe slightly more, as it looks like Seconds had a poor run coming out of that corner, which is allowing a guy to go round his outside here, but it's very difficult. You do have to get the car in tight if you want to get a good exit, and it looks like he's way off onto the grass, so a couple of the guys there moving across to try and account for that, and this is very difficult passing space. It's probably the best place on the track, and it looks like they're going to make contact. Fourth has clipped third, who's then clipped second, and managed to squeeze around the outside. There is a guy still there, and now it's all clear, and I've somehow, in amongst all that carnage, slipped up into second. It's very nervous going through that, seeing it happen in front of me, kind of having to hold on the brakes a little bit more, a little bit longer than I would have liked to, just to see where the guys are going, allow myself some breathing room to anticipate which direction they're going to spin off, and see if a gap formed, and a gap opened up on the outside, and I decided to take it and just about managed to slip my way up into second. So it's now all about trying to close down first position and not throw it away either. So now second in this race, I'm much happier to come away with second than obviously lose any other places. Ideally I'd like to get the win, but it's not too important. And getting this corner, there's a small twitch mid-corner where I came back on the gas a little bit, which is going to send me off wide, and I've gone and lost a bunch of places with that, and it looks like I can see one more position as well, and we've dropped down into about 7th place. There's a guy coming out of the pits there. Wanted to get past him before the first turn, which we do manage to do, and that was rather frustrating. Just gave it tiny little bit too much on the accelerator coming through that corner, and just when I came back onto the brakes again, just couldn't get the car slowed down enough while still turning, and I just ran out of road and slipped onto the grass. And the grass provides no grip in this game. Well, it does provide some grip, about the right amount actually, to be honest, but you know, not enough for you to kind of cleanly come back onto the road and maintain a position. So gone and lost a good 5 places in that, and now I want to see if we can slip past someone along these lines, and it looks like the two guys little bit of door rubbing there, trying to get a decent run coming out of that corner to get a good run coming down into the first turn here, trying to pick up the slipstream, but obviously it's not really too much of a straight, and he's gone quite defensive into that first turn, having a little look on the inside there midway through the first turn. But I had tried that move in the past once on someone, and they did exactly what this guy did here. They basically shut the door, so I anticipated that one coming, jumped back onto the brakes a little bit to avoid making contact. I don't really want to gain any more penalty safety rating points, but I am going to sit very, very close to his rear bumper and see if I can put him under some sort of pressure to try and work my way past some point in this race. So coming into this fairly difficult couple of turns, getting on the accelerator fairly early as a couple of the guys are running quite wide. Second point there, as you can see up the top of the screen, just for dipping the wheels a little bit too far onto the grass upon the exit. And it looks like we're a little bit smoother through turn 1 than the guy ahead. Also, I don't really touch the brakes through that corner unless I'm really, really close and the guy in front of me dabs the brakes. And I seem to be a fair bit quicker through that long left-hander there, as you can see, right up against his rear bumper now. I don't really want to make contact, and it's a little bit difficult trying to follow someone through here, especially if you're trying to take in a tighter line. He's sat on the brakes a little bit longer than I would have liked to as well, which is going to cost me all momentum coming down this straight and prevented me from getting a run down into the entrance of this hairpin just here. It is possible if you get alongside and get on your inside for this bit, so you'll be on the outside for that very small right-handed king that approaches the braking zone. It is possible to get a move down there, and if they do open up the door and run out wide enough midway through the corner, you can also slip up the inside if you're clever and the other guy does see you coming. It gives you room to get the inside for the tighter latter part of that hairpin as well. So there are places where you can overtake, it's just goddamn difficult to do exactly that. But that guy's got to run out very, very wide there, which is allowing me to slip up the inside here. Got on the track, got on the gas fairly well, got the traction down, and that allowed me to gain a position. So we're up into P6. I guess now my target is to slip back up into the top 5, as the two guys ahead have traded positions as well, and amongst the move that I just pulled off there half a lap ago. So yeah, now we're going to see if we can try and close these guys up. That is pretty much the optimal line that you want to be taking. It allows you to get on the gas fairly early and get a good decent run coming out through the exit of the corner, but it does also present a small opportunity for some people, if they're daring enough, to kind of get very close and stick their nose up the inside of your car. 9 times out of 10 though, or shall I say 10 out of 10 times they have backed out of it. I haven't had any contact through that corner as of yet. So it looks like we are closing to the guy ahead, and the guy in front of him is now starting to pull away a little bit, which is a tiny bit frustrating because I would quite like to try and get past both of these guys relatively quickly. As you can see, it's a fairly short circuit. It's just over a mile long. I think it's 1.1 miles. Lap times, as you can see, doing low 57s, which is about my consistent race pace now. It used to be up into like the high 57s, low 58s, but I now gained a fair bit of time, and I can dip down into the 56s. I think 56.7 is probably the best lap I've done to date so far. I have seen people down into the 56.2s, but you know, some people are just alien at this game, or they've spent a huge amount of hours, whereas I'm still obviously trying to work my way up through the rankings a little bit, trying to basically get a little bit more safety rating, because I am now Class D. I'm just trying to gain a little bit more safety rating and try and choose some kind of plan to work my way up to, ideally I want to be in GT3 or V8 Supercars. This is 2 series that I would like to definitely compete in. So as you can see, over the last lap or so, the gap to this guy has closed down fairly significantly. Lost a couple of attempts through that hairpin there. He has eked it out ever so very slightly. closing in the braking zones, especially through mid-corner, as you saw. But the relative gap is kind of staying the same, around about the 0.4, 0.5 seconds mark. It seemed to be a fair bit better than quite a few people coming through that left-handed hairpin there, just able to hug the inside line a fair bit tighter, kind of taking that karting line, whilst also managing to get on the power fairly early and just maintaining the traction throughout the corner. And that corner there is quite difficult. It's fairly deceptive. There's quite a big bump midway through the corner, which does just make the car understeer a little bit more than you would like to, and the outside of that turn does creep up on you quicker than you would expect. So it is quite a technical and very challenging circuit. I just wish it was the actual Summit Point Raceway track. I do prefer that more to this one. I do feel that that would probably present more overtaking opportunities than this track would, as it seems to be one corner leads into another. So still sat behind this guy Gary. Very difficult to try and find a way past, as you can see. Trying not to make contact, but also trying to look for an opportunity somewhere along the line to try and have a sniff at an overtake. Just kind of trying to fill his mirror, with my car. See if I can pressure him into making a mistake. And that seems to be a trend with me through that corner. I always focus on trying to get the good exit, get a good run down here, but that seems to cost me a couple attempts in doing so midway through the corner to the guy ahead. They always seem to keep a tighter line and kind of sacrifice the exit a little bit, and basically by the time that I come out of the corner, the amount of time that I lost, I kind of have made up by the time we get back into turn 1, so I'm not quite close enough there on the rear bumper. But it looks like we have a slight opportunity here. He's on my right hand side. Alongside him ever so very slightly as he's going round this corner here. It's just about managing to hold it on the inside. There wasn't really a passing opportunity. It's very, like I said, the track is very bumpy, and it's very difficult to ride the bumps and also try and keep to your line without making a mistake either. And we've had a much better run this time through the final corner, having to back out the throttle ever so slightly, knowing that I was going to run into the back of him. Tiny bit of oversteer on the exit, and it looks like we're right up against his rear bumper. 0.1 seconds ahead he is, and trying to have a sniff down into turn 1, but he is holding a very tight line and defending it very well coming into the first turn, giving me no opportunity to slip past there. And as you can see, the dirt and rubber build-up is starting to become more apparent on the windshield. Again, getting very close, coming out through that left-handed hairpin. Possibly not going to have a go into this corner here as he rides the brakes a little bit more, gets the bounce on, he slides the rear end ever so slightly, and being that close, and what I thought was him going to be spinning out, I backed out of the throttle and used the brakes ever so very slightly, but he rescued it and managed to hold on to the slide, which was slightly frustrating. I did actually shout out and swear at the screen at that point then, annoyed with myself, knowing that I probably could have given myself a much better run, and that probably was a very good opportunity to try and get past as we come into the second to the last lap now as well. So I'm running out of time to try and make this move past, but I'm also starting to struggle with options as to where I can get a move done. Just trying a different line through here. Didn't quite hook up the apex as tight as I would have wanted to. Would have liked to have taken a shorter route through the exit of that corner there and see if I could have got alongside him again through here, but not quite. As you see, the car bouncing around as we ride the bumps, and also I rode the inside curb ever so very slightly as well.
White flag, 1 more lap to go.
So the leader is just coming onto the last lap, taking a much tighter line than him, closing the gap quite significantly, getting on the throttle roughly about the same time, but obviously him slightly ahead. I think he did get it on a split second earlier as well, allowing him to pull away ever so slightly. So I'm not going to have an opportunity here into the first corner of the last lap. It's near enough single file along here, unless, you know, it's the first lap. I managed to make a move and well, all cars sit tight here, so there's not really any opportunity. They're running the red line ever so very slightly coming out through the exit as the car was sliding around at the rear. So my only opportunity is to get a good run out of here and see if we can make a move down into this corner, but he looks like he's had a good run through the corner as well. So I'm not going to get that opportunity, unfortunately, not unless he goes and makes a mistake. But he hits his braking points and braking marker at exactly the right time, and he holds that tighter line as well. So I'm going to have to settle for a rather frustrating 6th position, which it could have been a 2nd, maybe even a 1st if I managed to catch up to the guy in front, but it wasn't to be, unfortunately. I made an unforced error, which kind of cost me the race there. So hopefully you guys enjoyed that video as well. Probably be featuring a fair bit more iRacing on the channel. As you can see, this is my third video, sorry. And yeah, just give the video the usual rating. If you have any comments or questions, feel free to leave them below. And of course, hopefully I shall see you in the next video. Thanks very much for watching, guys. Take care.